Hey, welcome in, Gaga. Yeah, sorry for taking a moment. When I start streaming, I always run an ad as the very first thing, so you guys have less ads when I'm actually streaming and you guys are here. So it takes a moment longer. But yes, I'm finally here, and I hope today we're gonna have a proper stream. I'm gonna have to be critical with myself and say the last stream was not it. I mean, I was facing issues with the Move It and Anarchy alpha versions, but that was not the only problem. I also think all of the garage placement and everything pretty much we did last game session was not great, so I went ahead and deleted everything and redid stuff from the get-go, and I think it turned out a lot better than what I actually did last stream. I'm gonna have to be critical with myself there. And Gaga, I have something you're gonna like. I know I've not properly played around with it yet, and it's probably gonna be a moment till we get to it, but have a look at what I started trying around with here. Look at this. Doesn't this look very cute? I think this looks very cute.
That's
Well,
cute.
the problem is not me not knowing how to use my assets. The problem is I think the last stream I think I was a bit flustered about having jumped onto stream the first time in a bit and then facing so many issues with Move It and Anarchy, and I think it kinda threw me off my vibe, so I couldn't properly play afterwards anymore. I don't know. And I'm curious, we've gotten a new very cool vehicle that I have not spotted yet. I hope we'll be able to find one of them. By now, I'm curious how you feel about it, Gaga, but I feel like the speed has picked up quite significantly in asset releases, which I always been thinking is gonna happen just because the editor is just out for so little that there is many people who have to learn how to use the editor properly, right? And I feel like by now a lot of people, including myself and you, I think we're both examples for this as well, had enough time to learn and actually look into the editor a bit more. So by now people are learning, and now you also see that with people having learned, they are slowly releasing more stuff, or it's more new creators entering. I mean, it's not just about the editor, about the entire pipeline on how to import and bring in assets. And I do think for that, well, everybody who's not made content creator packs in the past obviously just has to learn from the get-go, right? And I think it makes a lot of sense that especially after the asset editor dropped fresh, in my opinion, people were too impatient because I think a lot of the problem of the situation was pretty much just people having to learn the editor and get used to it so they can make assets in future, and obviously people did not have the chance to do that at the start. So let's see if it holds on, but I have a good feeling about us seeing a lot more asset releases in future. And I want to dive in here. I think today we're going to jump around quite a lot in what we're doing, but we have quite a lot of areas in our city where I started laying down stuff, but then actually never fully got into detail. And I started some of these backyards here when taking screenshots for my garages. So one of the things we're gonna do today is actually dive in and at least fix up a few of these slots back here to get this area a bit more in shape. And welcome in Rizam. I'm sure Gaga have seen it already, but in case anybody has not seen it yet, Riza made a very cute cactus statue, which I have to admit I have not gotten to look at in game yet. So later, when we're in a bit more of an appropriate place for it in our build, we are gonna have a look at Riza's new cactus statue and join the cactus cult that he already started. Honestly, I love the screenshots. I think the statue itself is beautiful, but what really made that thing very complete and lovely was you actually going ahead and detailing out the cactus cult so cute. So I'm very sure that I'm gonna kinda copy your scene with this, because wholeheartedly, perfect scene cannot do a much better job than you done there. And how are you cuties doing today? Are you also playing on the site? I would assume. Hold on. There actually is one thing I want to update on my garages that I didn't notice at first, but I list my garages in the residential prop category. Usually, everything that you list in the residential prop category gets automatically applied to the find it category of the same asset, so it should automatically get into find it and residential props. The issue why does that doesn't happen for us is that our garages are technically buildings, and find it does not automatically add buildings to the prop menu. So I will have to add a component that overrides find it, not adding it, and then they should show as well. But I do really want them to show in both find it as well as the editor. And welcome in, Andy. How are you cutie doing today? Okay, actually, to line this up perfectly, I guess we will need to use extra detailing tools, and I think we'll actually need a third one. Because as always, I want to build a roof terrace, and I'm super excited. This pack here is absolutely beautiful. It is a pier pack, so we're definitely misusing it here, but it is the best wood stair asset we currently have in the game, I would say. We have a lot of nice ones from Jay in the past, but then now we're getting official support for all of these things. I think it makes sense to use actual meshes instead of assemblies, at least for most things. And this is one of the packs that I think is very exciting, because wholeheartedly, I think it looks lovely. I just wish that the people would, but I understand for the piers, obviously he needs a fairly short stair. But for most of these stairs, I wish people would make them a bit longer, because you can always sink them in the ground if you want to have them shorter, but you can't really move them, or it's annoying to stack them up, so making them longer seems better than having them a bit shorter. And I am also doing fine. I'm actually very happy that I managed to put out my first asset, though I have to admit there is a lesson that I've learned with my first asset, and it's not a very important one. I don't really care about numbers much. But if you have an unlisted mod like I do, and you then release it, it will not index you in newly released mods, which I would argue it at least should give you the option to do so. But yeah, it means the visibility is fairly shit. So I guess in future, I will actually redo the mod and upload it fresh, which is a bit. I'm a bit torn because the reason was liking unlisted mods so much is that. How do I phrase this correctly? I think it makes testing for people a lot less annoying because if you're testing stuff and you know it gets re-uploaded, you're basically deleting all of your progress when it gets re-uploaded. And what was so nice about unlisted mods is that you can let people test for you, but they're not losing their progress, right? You're perfectly fine just playing regular afterwards. And sadly, that is something we're losing if we re-upload, so I'm not perfectly happy with this solution, but I guess it is what it is. And these people here, they're not gonna get a proper full-fledged roof terrace, but maybe some nice hangout spot up here with a bit of a barbecue area and a nice spot for a small rooftop party. Welcome in, Rookie. Nice to see you, cutie here. And Rookie, I said this quite a lot on stream lately, but I also want to repeat this to you because I think it's crucial. I know you have a lot of questions about making assets, right? I think it's a great idea if you ask those publicly in my Discord, because I'm gonna say as much, you're not the only one, and there is quite a lot of people who would like to understand and learn more and get into it. And I think it totally makes sense to ask public questions so other people can also see them and read up on it. So never feel silly about asking silly questions. Like I myself, I've said this in my Discord, but I'm going to say it publicly as well. I myself have asked a lot of really silly questions to StarQ while I was working on my garages. So honestly, it is infuriatingly intimidating at the start, so very understandable if you have a question that is not super elaborate at the start. And nobody should feel like weird or scared about that. Why is this looking like that? Okay, actually, it's the lightning that did actually get colored. And I'm sure some of you guys have heard already, but if not, there is interesting news as well for the cities community. Moose is gonna host another build-off competition in a few months from now. I think it's still quite a bit away, but yeah, in a few months from now we should get that. Also, this seems exactly about how it would be realistic in the real world. This clearly looks like a house of somebody owning a Bugatti, doesn't it? I would say so. Clearly nothing wrong with somebody living like this and then having a Bugatti in the front yard. I would argue. And welcome in, Shane. Oh, and how come? What is the issue you're facing, Rookie? And is it your main save? Because if so, my blessings. I hope you can get it to work again. And welcome in, Treffer. I think at least that's a German phenomenon. I'm not. I don't want to step on anybody's feet, but
Great success.
at least in Germany, yes, something like this. Obviously not with a Bugatti, but is fairly common. Like in many, I would say more low income neighborhoods, you see the most elegant cars in the front yard because I don't know, people care a lot about cars and status, especially in that bracket. So yes, it actually is a thing, at least in Germany, that you do see more expensive and elegant cars in lower income neighborhoods. Yeah, but I already seen them and used them. I know. To be honest, I've just not played the game super much lately because I've been mainly fiddling around with Blender and getting to learn stuff. But I'll get to it. And five streams watched week is actually especially in my chat fairly solid because I've been playing so little lately that is not easy to catch my streams, I'd argue. And with this, I'm actually gonna save before because it's one of the things where I want to work a lot more with. Since I've not played the game so much recently, we have also not used the animated sims very much. I am not very good at using this yet. I have to be critical with myself. For example, they have one attacker and one defender. I don't recall which is which. I think this is the attacker, and he does some crazy movement and he will run a bit in that direction. So we'll have to try when we place him kinda correctly. Let's see if this worked out somewhat. I mean, obviously it's a bit junk because he's not carrying the ball, but I do think it's kinda cute to get a bit more movement in there. Obviously, arguably, this is not the most logical and great way of movement, but it does kind of work. We can place a ball roughly where he's jumping. And now comes the difficult part, because we also have a defender, and I think we can actually use those kinda together if we do those right. Probably will not do it right, but I'm gonna try my luck. I'm gonna try to time these so they're at the same position, and now we plop him, and I hope they're not running into each other. I don't like this. Yes, they are running through each other. See, these are tricky. I think these are also the trickiest. All of the other animated ones are not moving as much as this one. But these two, I struggle using them correctly. This guy is not as difficult, but then if you want to use them together, I'm not sure how one would do that the best way. And yes, I fear Germans do really care about cars. Like, obviously, less and less so, and especially in bigger cities, I would say they are not the biggest thing ever, but yeah, generally Germans are still fairly crazy about their cars. Let's see if we can manage to target this correctly. Let's wait till this guy ran away. And now, can we delete only him? No, okay, deletes where the animation starts. I think we're just gonna not use a defender. We're just gonna use one of these, because this one was kind of nice. We can even put them a little bit closer. And then we put like one or two more idle people, so this gets a bit more alive. Another attacker somewhere here. And I think we'll just leave it at that, because I don't know how I match them perfectly. Not yet, rookie, but I installed it earlier, so I'm sure we will get to making a cactus cult scenario today. Because yes, I already talked about it before you came in. That cactus statue is very cute, and especially the anim or the scenario and screenshots we have made with it were very cute. So we're definitely gonna join the cactus cult in Los Vagos. Is this an okay placement? It kinda is an okay placement. Again, it's not perfect, but I think workable enough. And here comes exactly the reason why I wanted so much control over my garages and why I want some of them to be functional or not. Because I don't want the cars to drive through here. I want these people to play basketball and be uninterrupted. So this one I definitely want to keep unfunctional. In other areas, I think it's amazing to make them functional to get a bit more movement in the blocks, but yes, a bit. It depends very much for me in the areas. And I don't think we streamed yet since these got added. I'm sure everybody in my chat has already seen these. Are these not amazing? I absolutely love those white flowers. I think they are exactly the kind of vibe to detail up these front yards a little. And I don't think you need super much usage of them. I think they are exactly what it says is a wild flower. So if you just spread them a little, I think it's a really nice mix. But I've been trying around a bit, and all of the new perfectly beautiful vegetation we've been getting from Pedlemo, I'm not sure how to pronounce his nickname to be honest, but they work really well in our build, especially in combination with our old vegetation. I think the layering with these new ones makes our vegetation a lot prettier. I've been wondering the same, Rookie. I don't think so, because he even a new version. This is a prop version, and this is an actual grass version. But I've been trying around with a prop version, and yes, this has color mask, but I've been trying around adjusting them, and I didn't get to adjust them color wise. Because yes, I would agree it would be nice if we could make the colors a bit more brown for our build to have it look more like dry grass, but I don't think we can, sadly. I don't think it matters so much because we're mixing the grass with a lot of like fairly dry vegetation in our build, so I think it still works out very well for us, but yeah, sadly it does not seem recolorable, even though I would be wishing for the same. Yeah, no, I don't think they are recolorable. So it's not a you problem, or it's an us problem. Maybe we're both being incompetent and they are recolorable, but at least you're not alone. I also can't recolor them. I don't know. I have never talked to him. I again, I've not played CS1, so I didn't know about him. But according to everybody in my Discord, it seems like he's a gigantic CS1 legend already. So I'm sure people have him on Discord somewhere. I would love if you start making plants. So yes, please, Elgando. I myself am very scared of plants. I also think making plants is cool, but I think making plants is infuriatingly complicated in this game. Especially if you want them to not just be props, right? But if you want them to be actual plants with all of the age variations and swinging in the wind and all of that, then yeah, that's gonna be a pretty painful experience, I fear. I don't know. Again, I'm the wrong person to ask because I don't really. You know this better than anybody else. I'm not a big fan of CSM, so I don't really check in CSM. He might be there, he might not be. I cannot tell you. Well, Elgander, you better update us about your plans then. Remember watering them nicely every day. What I don't like about this is there is no staircase. Can we wait? I think we actually have pool ladders, don't we? I believe I've seen pool ladders before. Yes, here. Oh my god, they are. Whoops. This is a pool ladder. I'm blind. But yes, I want something to be able to get in and out of this. Do we have a smaller one, maybe? I wish we could manage to hide those things. I think we can just pull it off like this. If we just line it up next to it and hide these underground or underwater. That seems more appropriate already. Yeah, I just misread. I was wondering why this one is so big, but yeah, it was just the wrong category. So absolutely on me and nobody else. And again, I wanna use a lot more of the animated sims and also go back in other areas where we've not used them yet, especially in our beach area. I wanna use those swimming ones as well. But well, I guess Ashley looks a bit silly in the small pool the way he is, but I don't mind. I just want more movement in our build, and if this is what we can do, then this is what we'll take for now. I welcome in, Jelly. I am doing absolutely fabulous today. How about you two? What water? You mean the way the water looks on top of here? How are all of you cutie people doing? But yeah, I guess Elgendo means the way the water looks. I mean, I don't think it fits very well for a pool like this, because clearly this has continuous flow. So I don't like that. Otherwise, I don't think it looks too bad. And actually, with the ad break coming up now, I do have a question, but I want to hear your answer or your thoughts about my question. So I'm gonna wait for the ad break to be over, and then afterwards, I actually have an ad-related question to you cuties. Nothing more Los Vagos than random people working out in the front yard, I guess. And welcome in, jesters. I'm very bad at names. If you want to be called Nuke, let me know, or if I'm pronouncing it wrong, gladly call me out and tell me how to do better. I don't want to butcher your names, but I will probably butcher your names. And with these, I've not used these sims so much. I've been trying to learn how to place them correctly. It seems to me when you place them kinda in the middle of the sitting area, it's where they're sitting the best. I personally don't like using the pre-seated ones because they sometimes spawn multiple times and I think it looks very weird. So by now I've switched to just placing these manually one by one. And again, we're detailing so much. If we have a little more small detail work to do, then not too bad. I mean, sure. I wouldn't disagree with what Elgando has been saying right there. That absolutely is true. The question is, can we manage to sit somebody? They will probably sit too high, but we're gonna try this at least. I want to see if we can manage to sit somebody at the corner of this one. Most likely, they will be flying too high in the air. So I don't think this will work. But let's see. What is the verdict to this, guys? Can we allow this, or is this too? This is a bit too bad to allow this, right? Hold on. Maybe what we can do instead, that should be roughly the correct level. Can we make her sit on the armrest at least? So we get somebody actually sitting on the roof. If we place her right here at the armrest, will that work? Kinda. This is a bit too sad. For the front, it's a bit too high. For the back, it's a bit too low. The problem is I would like to do that, but this is a functional car. I have not placed this here. So if you place somebody on top of the roof of this car, the car will drive away eventually, and then they will just dance in the middle, which questionable. Not not unallowed in Los Vagos, I guess, but questionable. Okay, I was gonna say, why can I not delete them? But finally we managed. I guess no sitting people up here, or we need an actual proper chair. I guess we'll place a single chair for the barbecue master over here. And we turn this lovely woman into the barbecue person instead. So we have somebody sitting here. That works out. But yes, somewhat sad that we cannot use them on there. I guess because it's Los Vagos, people can just lay on the floor next to it and nobody will question it anyway. Nothing wrong with this. And with that, I think we need a few kits in the play area and then we just need a level of vegetation and this should be fine. But yes, now the ad break is over. I changed something about how ads work on my channel because I think it's what more people on Twitch are doing. I'm bad at Twitch. I'm a bad streamer in general. So I have no clue how these things are done properly. I feel like most people have ads only once an hour, but a bit longer. I, in the past, always had ads every 30 minutes and a bit shorter. And I just switched it to once an hour because I think it's a bit nicer. I don't usually take more than a single break in my stream. And if it's a bit longer than the every 30-minute one, I think we can get more in and then do whatever we want. I mean, to be honest, I would absolutely believe it. And why would I take action, Jelly? Maybe that's true. Maybe El Gendo is just trying to warn you, and it's totally accurate. How would you know? Honestly, look at the difference. This is with Suli's new sitting and moving and standing sims. And then let's find an old backyard that we detailed in the past. This is a old, it's just people standing around everywhere. Sure, it adds a lot to people not standing around, but now they can sit and actually do stuff. We can make this a lot better than things were in the past. So I'm a big fan. I'm wholeheartedly a big fan. And obviously, you guys know we love graffiti in this city. I was very long thinking about if I should add graffiti onto my garages, and then I decided it's nicer if people can make unique walls themselves on the garages. So I decided against putting stuff on here. But obviously, in our own builds, we 100% want graffiti everywhere. So graffiti cannot be missing on these garages either. Yes, everybody should check out Chain, who in general is an amazing map maker, but Chain released a new map in the last week and it looks great as always. So, if anybody is looking for a new map, Shane has some of those to offer. Obviously, there is other amazing people in the community like Poplar who make great maps. But lately, Shane has been absolutely killing it, not only in the quality, but the output alone is crazy. Like, you've been so quick with blasting out those maps that wholeheartedly fascinating how quick you're getting through those things. Because I'm sure some people know that I also had a go at map making, and I do still really want to revisit map making. But I'm very slow, and I was very slow with my map as well, so we're far from done with it. All right, I think we are actually pretty much done with this. We just want a bit of grunge and want this to be a bit more lived in and appropriate. I'm, I mean, that's a fair, fair assessment.
I wish we had a
I mean,
cactus.
I,
Oh,
I-
that's
I'm
cute.
I'm gonna do it. I promise you,
I
Jelly. I
wish
will
we
get to
had
it
a cactus.
eventually. But then keep in mind, I'm a horrible
Oh, that's
streamer,
cute.
so
Oh, that's cute.
none of this is gonna
I wish we had a
happen very
cactus.
soon.
I wish we had a
Oh my
cactus.
God! It's beginning again. The spam is beginning, but we
Place an
will get a
electricity
cactus
box.
today.
If I have to listen to this bloody narrator for the same
Please,
thing
no
one more time,
bullying
I'm just
me,
gonna
huh?
quit and go play Cities.
Hold on. In all of that useless sound spamming to bully me was an actual important command, and it's one of my favorite commands ever, and it's the electricity box one. Because I think these electricity box now looks amazing. I always forget
Place
to
an
place
electricity
these,
box.
so when somebody redeems it, I love it because then I remember putting some somewhere. And yes, obviously, other people in a normal Twitch channel, people have moderators to protect them from bullying, right? In my Discord, I have moderators or in my stream, I have moderators to bully me. So really, it just depends what you want, but my moderators work a little different than the usual moderator. They're not here to punish people. They are not here to look out for me or be nice to people. They are purely here to annoy me. And I'm thankful and happy for it, guys. Thank you for being here. Yeah, your moms, indeed. I think that's very correct. If this bullying is gonna get too much, I will reach out to all of your dear mothers and let them know about your bad behavior in the internet. And then I'm sure you guys will get disciplined. I fear that little firecracker is my moderator. So I'm sure I'm the one getting moderated by her. So yes, you're not wrong. But I don't think she cares much about moderating you guys. And I mean, I did do some Duolingo with Spanish, but my Spanish is not good enough to follow you, Elgando, so I have no idea what you just said. But yes, now we have some cute electricity boxes, so we can go back to our detailing. I think these make a huge difference. I can only always recommend people to place some of these cute electricity boxes next to your road every once in a while, because they do really add atmosphere and a small level of detail. I love those. I luckily did not have to do Latin in school. I had a choice to do Latin or French. Fair to say, I would have been probably horrible of either at them, and I was horrible in French. But at least it was a language that actually still gets spoken somewhere in the world. Not saying learning Latin is not helpful for other things in life and understanding other languages, but then good luck actually communicating with anybody. Really, no, in Germany, at least when I still went to school, I think, to be honest, that it's gotten less common nowadays. But when I was still going to school, Latin in many schools was mandatory. And then in some schools, like mine, you could choose. And then as a second, or yeah, as a second, like, how would you call that in English? Not your mother tongue, but the second language you're learning. In German, we have a word for that. I cannot speak English, so forgive me. I was a bit shocked. I always thought Moose is older than me. I learned yesterday, and I'm doxing myself in an appropriate way, because only people who know how old Moose is can figure how old I am now. I am a year older than Moose. Yeah, see, the reason why this confuses me, Jester, is that I would have to say it's my second language, I guess, which that does sound very wrong to me in German. But yeah, it's my second language, I guess. But yeah, in Germany, as a second language, generally you can choose between Spanish, Latin, or French. And in my school, sadly, Spanish was not an option, else I would have taken Spanish. And like this, I took French. Yeah, I guess third language, but in Germany we quite literally have a word because it for us second language does not mean like the second language you've learned, but like the second language that is not your mother tongue, pretty much. So difficult. You mean French is a great language, so good choice. See, now comes the sad part about this. My mom loves French, or French, and she lived in Paris for part of her life and used to be a French teacher. And then came her embarrassing son, who always was really shit at French in school and did not like French people. So, fair to say, I did not make my mom proud. Yeah, see, Jelly's French is roughly as good as mine. And I obviously mean that in the nicest way ever. Jelly, your French is flawless. Obviously, that's what I meant to say. No question. What else would I have said? Clearly, your French is absolutely flawless. Okay, this is starting to take shape. As a last one, we put some actual proper trees in here. And then I think for once, I know happens rarely enough in my stream, but we actually managed to finish something and we played the game. I know, hard to believe. I don't believe it either. But I think it happened on accident. We actually made a build. Which, not a very interesting build. It was two backyards, but at least our two backyards now look beautiful. Yeah, I think bordel is the same word in German. So I'm gonna agree with Jelly and say that sounds fishy. That sounds very fishy. And peace, I guess, yeah, maybe peace, but who knows? Gaga, educate us. What have you just said? I think what happened is that Gaga put a curse on us in scary language. We are now all cursed. Does he? Honestly, the more you know, that is quite hilarious. I like it. And when I said, of course, you guys know my streams enough by now. When I said, "Oh, well, guys, we actually finished the build," don't you guys think we actually finished this? Obviously, we still have to do some decal work, some surface work. Our builds are not this quick. We actually love what we're doing, and we're trying to make it as cute as we can. And for now, I don't think it's as cute as we can make it. So we're not done yet. We will be done soon, though. Okay, one last thing, obviously, kind of mandatory for anybody who plays this game. Use Gaga surfaces, because Gaga surfaces are amazing. And not only are they amazing, they're even more amazing because you can draw them in so quickly and so undetailed. And they still look absolutely beautiful. So they add a lot to your build in very little time. So highly recommend everybody to layer at least a few of these. We also want a little yellow flowers around this, because then we have quite a lot. And now I think we're nearly done. I know, I keep saying we're done, and we aren't done. But as a very last thing, we're gonna place a few more cars, because we're in the US, so everybody who lives here at least has a quadrillion cars in their front yard, and obviously we want to be true to real life, so people need a few more vehicles. That's actually very hilarious. I had no idea. I mean, I think Gaga had something funny similar to that, because I'm sure all of you guys know Pedlemo. I think again, I'm not sure about his name perfectly fine, but Pedlemo, the creator of many of the nice vegetation we've gotten in this game, he uses PD as a short form on all of his icons. That also must mean something bad in French, because Gaga said he would do better for French people if he would not use a short form of his name. I mean, Rookie, I'm gonna say one thing, and I think you know the two most important things in any language. So that seems perfectly sufficient. There is no more you should have to learn either. But yes, now I actually do think we consider this ready. Do we? I think we consider this ready, at least as ready as I feel like doing it today. And it's starting to look very nice. One of the things I did a bit more as well, as you can see here, is I did this off stream when I was taking the screenshot for the garages. I put in a bit more vegetation next to the street. So by now, God damn it. Holy mother of lag. We just went down to 1 FPS looking at all of this back there. But is starting to actually look fairly decent in this entire area. Leisure venues is the single best DLC in this game you can get. So I would say definitely do so. Absolutely. And I would agree with Jester. Clearly, Rookie is a charmer. I can very much agree with that. And have a nice evening, Jelly. Thank you for tuning in, as always. And looking forward to more city streams of you in future, because at least when I started watching Jelly, she basically never streamed cities, and if so, it was only map making. But Jelly seems to have developed a little addiction, which Cities is a great game. Most of us gonna catch a little addiction, so I'm sure we'll see more good Jelly streams soon. And now comes one of the big questions, because one of the things I told you guys we will definitely have to build today is a cactus cult. And the question is, where in this godforsaken map would people join the cactus cult? Maybe even the botanic garden seems appropriate. What are you asking? If I built what from scratch? This this save, and yes, thank you, Rookie. Great idea. We're gonna save the game. I'm playing without autosave, and I'm usually fairly forgetful about saving my game. So if I get remembered every once in a while, then I'm not mad about it. Yes, we started this city is a bit calling this city is a bit overly ambitious. It's more a small village, I guess. But all of this small village you can see in the screen now, we built all of this in the last year. So I'm a very slow builder, as should be unsurprising with the level of detail we have in our build in general. But yes, I have been slowly chipping away at this build during the last year, roughly, and we're evolving. So I don't know. I know most people struggle with knowing what they want to build. I never had that problem. I have 100 ideas what I want to build in this city. And I'm a really slow builder, so I always have 50 more ideas till I finish 10 of the ones I had. And sometimes it's a bit of a problem, but yeah, we're not gonna run out of things to build in this anytime soon. If Rezara is still here, and I'm not sure if he still is, but I need your input because you have made the cactus statue. Is a cactus cult illegal? Is that something that happens behind closed doors? Or is that something that happens in the face of everybody? Okay, okay. That's exactly my question that I was wondering while looking at the map where we could put it. If it should be in a remote spot where they're not that easily spotted. And to be honest, I think the best remote area we have in any of this build right now is either somewhere in our botanic garden or somewhere in here in the backland of our farms where we have this very shitty Breaking Bad scene that we will have to redo when we get more appropriate things for it. But I think this is where the cult should be happening as well. Somewhere in this area, a bit drawn away from people. The question is where exactly? I mean, I do want people to still have access to it and be able to go there. I just don't want it to be super in the face of people. I mean, I see where that logic is coming from, and I will absolutely add a few scooters. Wholeheartedly, I think this is our spot. We're gonna build out the back of this a little, where it's kinda hidden away. Because I don't want this to be super public, but I also don't want it to be entirely in the middle of nowhere. I want people to actually be able to get there. So this is our place. I'm gonna make a bit of space and move this away. And now we're actually gonna have to find a cactus statue because I have no clue where we will find it. Probably in the park menu. If this is wrong, please scream and tell me where I should look instead. Or I guess I could be clever and just go into find it and type cactus, but why do easy if you can do difficult? There we go. We finally have a cactus in Los Vagos. Is not the kind of cactus we imagined to be getting as our first cactus, but is a cactus regardless, and any cactus is better than no cactus, so I'm a gigantic fan of it. And we will have to build a few more of these, because I actually think we have a lot of well, we actually do have a cult in the city already. I was gonna say we have a lot of gangs in our city, but we don't have a cult yet. But that's not true. Hold on, let me. We even have multiple locations for a cult. Holy FPS! We have this cult, which I think is a very important cult. So we will always treasure the Ploppers cult. In fact, any of our churches in this build is a Ploppers cult, but I guess we're getting a second cult, because if a city has many gangs, why shouldn't a city have many cults either? I lost where we're building. The heck? Oh, here is where we're building. And I guess first things first, we need people, and obviously we need crazy people. So we need Los Angeles people and we need homeless people. That seems exactly like the right kind to have at this. I hate it, Elgendo. Yes, you will have to, but I just hate the system of decals and everything around it right now. Like, this cannot be the solution that everybody makes their own tabs in future. Like, the entire UI, the way it works right now, it is not great. Like, the entire UI will fall over the moment there is a few bad actors in the community. There is too much freedom. You're allowed to do too many things, and the UI does not anticipate that well enough. So, wholeheartedly, we desperately need a proper deep UI rework of the game. Because yeah, the moment people start adding tabs and icons and everything they can do and should do right now, we are gonna be in a big problem. What you will find very funny, Elgendo, I was talking to StarQ some days ago, and StarQ told me that when they added these icons here, right, these pack icons, initially you could only make 20 here. That was the max limit, and after it, they just continue to run all the way over your screen here. How do you develop a system where people can add icons for custom content in a game where people love making custom content And then you give it a limit of 20, like it's all really naive and weird, to be honest. And are they in this tab as well? What we're looking for currently is sofas. They are not here. I guess then we have to jump into find it instead. And they should be somewhere here. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's a bit too easy to say. And I don't want to be too overly hopeful about something where we don't know if it's ever going to come. But the first few things we could see from ice flakes of form, I think, make me confident for the future. Again, we don't know, so nobody should be too excited yet, because we don't know. But I think the signs generally are pointing in the right direction. Because it does seem like they are a lot more realistic, right? They I think Colossal Order try to make the most amazing game ever, and I respect it and I get it. But I think they were just a bit unrealistic in what they can pull off realistically in a reasonable time frame. Oh, hold on. Now I see these. We're gonna go back to what we just detailed, because I definitely want to add at least one of these here on the hillside. I think they look really nice if they're a bit raised next to the commercial or to the residential backyards. Did they say anything? I didn't really pay attention to that. In the dev diaries they dropped, did they say anything timeline-wise about when we can expect any of those things to actually make it into the game? Sad. Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I just was wondering, because maybe I didn't pay proper attention, but I guess I did, and they just didn't say anything yet. Elgander is probably screaming internally, seeing how horribly I work with these decals here. I know they are not meant to be used like I'm using them, but also I don't care. What are you gonna do to stop me? And on this sofa, I would personally not sit down, because this looks like somebody had very explosive diarrhea while sitting down there. I'm not gonna judge. I'm not judging. People can have diarrhea wherever they want to or not. But I would probably not sit down on that anymore. The reason I love these stains so much, Elgendo, is that they are the only stains that are small enough that you can work on anything like this. So really, for here, they're 10 out of 10. Could not do this with anything else. And I always miss these, because these are some of the decals where I have to be really judgmental with myself. I think they're amazing. I always forget about these and place them way less than I would like to if I'd have them in mind a bit more. Okay, slowly this is starting to get a bit better. Then obviously we're gonna have to follow Gaga's orders, and I agree with them. Probably these people are very much customers of Gaga's scooter gang. So we will need a few scooter deliveries down here. I hate this scooter model because I've complained about this a lot. Can you guys see this? If we place this at a, it's not perfectly flat here, but if we find a very flat space, the front tire is always hovering. I don't know why the model is like this. The back tire is positioned correctly. The front tire is a few centimeters in the air, and it is infuriating because if you want those to look really nice, you will have to select everyone single-handedly and then adjust the rotation slightly. And now it looks fine, but why is it necessary that I have to do this for every single model? Yeah, I know, Elgando, but the truth is also the majority of people in this game, they care about making things quicker and easier. I am the same. I know, like, with everything I have made, all of my street art decals, people always say me they want them pre-combined. They just want to have an entire wall, right? They just want to click once and be done with it. Sure, that is what most people want. That's exactly not what I want my decals to be used like. I specifically care about people making cute, interesting walls themselves and like putting stuff in fitting positions. So I don't think what the majority cares about in this game is very relevant. No. The stains, Elgando made those. The only decals I made are all these. Like, I like street art. I like artsy stuff. So all of these graffiti and art you see here, these are all my decals. Everything else you see decal-wise is by either Gaga or Soli or Elgando or Riza, maybe. And then, yes, there's a few other people, but those are the majority of decals I use at least. And my own ones, I decided I will only ever make artsy decals, so well, I do say that, and that's not true, because I made a few signage ones as well, but very silly signage ones. I make like, I don't know, some great signs like these, which I guess is an appropriate sign for this park here. But yeah, no, the stains are by Elgando. With that, I told you, and I do mean it. I think if you want to ask questions about making assets or making decals, and they are really different, so there is no single answer to that. Making decals has been really easy in the past. It's gotten a lot worse just recently. So by now it's not as nice anymore. It's not super difficult. Making assets is also not super difficult, but it's super tedious. So you will have to have quite a bit of time on your hand. But I would say just join my Discord and ask those questions publicly. I know I am also always a bit embarrassed about asking those questions publicly, especially when it feels like they might be not super spot on. It helps other people. There is so many people who have messaged me about making assets since I put out the garage that I really think the more questions get asked publicly, the nicer it is, because then other people can also read the answers. And my Discord is very full of different kind of asset creators, so probably a good place to ask. You can also go to CSM instead if you would like descending people that are kind of rude while helping you. They will also help you. The question is, will you enjoy it very much while getting help? I would argue I don't, and I don't like CSM very much, but that's just my opinion. Yes, absolutely possible. It's tedious, and it depends on, you say asset. There is a gigantic difference between making decals and making 3D assets. Both are tedious and complicated in their own way, but I don't know, one of them is a lot. I think for 3D assets, the process of getting them into the game currently is a lot nicer than for decals. But making 3D assets also is a lot more work than making a decal. So, for one, the importing is a painful and annoying process. For the other one, making the asset is a painful part of it. Yeah, it's so silly. I can still not believe this. That basically you're following a 3D workflow to put a PNG into the game currently, which I would argue is not how it should be, but I guess they do what they feel is right. Heck yeah, I love this blanket. I know we have some other props for this as well now, but if you sink these picnic blankets into the ground, you get bottles and cups, and we don't really have bottles or cups. Obviously, this is a bit of a cheap way to do what we're doing right now, but it's one of the few good ways we have. Obviously, you're then a bit terrain dependent and have to find positions where you can pull it off. But in some positions, like here, for example, it does work flawless and it now looks like trash and bottles. So always recommend this to people because it's one of the few ways how we have any access to something like that. But yes, it's quite literally like you have to deal with FBXs, which is a 3D file type, to import decals into the game right now. My opinion is a very simple one on decals right now, and it's don't make any decals till they fix the pipeline for it and revisit it and make it proper usable. Because I would argue right now it is usable, but the amount of tediousness that is required for it is just simply not acceptable. I personally would say. What are we missing, Rizal? It's your cult, so I need your input. Is this starting to get into the right direction? Obviously, we might wanna unfly these scooters. But otherwise, I think we're getting there. We should park a bit more vehicles out here as well, because I guess these people have not all just walked here. And not everybody is a member of the scooter club, but otherwise, I think I'm starting to be happy with this. Okay, good enough. And then obviously, I don't know why Gaga is obviously a gigantic sexist for portraying it like this. But in Gaga's scooter gang, there is only naked ladies working. Again, this is Gaga's specific wish. I am innocent and have nothing to do with it, and I think it's very questionable. But it's Gaga's gang, so Gaga's rules. So we need some skimpy dressed ladies doing business for Gaga here. Yeah, no worries, Jester. Have a nice evening, and thanks for tuning in. And absolutely feel invited. Like my Discord, either if you type exclamation mark Discord in chat, or find it on my about page. Like, feel free to just ask any kind of questions in there. Like Elgando, Gaga, Riza, they're all also in my Discord. So if I can't help you, somebody else will be able to. And again, have a nice evening, and thanks for tuning in. Oh, well, I am a really bad streamer and often mess up reading everything in chat. I just seen, my bad, and you have an absolutely wonderful evening, Jefe, and have a nice night. And yeah, as always, enjoy your banana, I guess. See, this is the part, like my work is very slow. Like if you're here to see a stream with proper progress, then you probably have to go somewhere else. If you're here to look at somebody detailing very small corners of his build for hours and making little progress, then you're in the exact right place. I would argue I'm even fairly good at multitasking, but I don't know, especially while streaming, I sidetrack over and over and forget that I'm even playing a game, and then I don't read chat for too long, or I read chat for too much. Is a difficult one. And what we're adding here is a very important detail, because again, we have to follow Riza's advice, and Riza said these people are all junkies. His words, not mine. I'm totally innocent. But obviously, we need to supply these people then. And I would guess if you're into those kind of things and you live in Los Vagos, what you're drinking is moonshine. So we obviously need a few barrels of home brewed moonshine getting delivered right here. And these people are very thirsty, so not too few of them either. That seems appropriate, so they can have something nice to drink. I think with that, we actually have our first cool spot for today. One thing I still definitely want to do, because this is one of the thinner detailed areas in our build, and we have not used any Gaga surfaces here, which never a good idea. So we'll go in here
I
and
wish we
make
had a
Gaga
cactus.
surfaces. Well, see, you don't have to wish that we have a cactus anymore. We do now have a cactus. Arguably not the kind of cactus we wanted to have, but it's a cactus. So big thank you for Riza. And I mean, if any of you have not seen it, Riza uploaded the cactus statue onto PDX. You just have to read the asset description, and is a 10 out of 10 asset description. Maybe Pedlemo will hear our prayers, because he has literally been saying that he's praying to Pedlemo for a cactus in the description. So let's hope. It's obviously not super likely, but who knows, who knows? And welcome in Jamama. See, Jamama is one of those people who also seems to be very interested in getting into asset making. I hope I'm not saying anything wrong here, but I believe Jamama is working as an architect in real life. So obviously, it would be amazing to have some of those well-made architectural models in game. So let's hope Jamama can find a time for it. And same goes for you, Jamama. Obviously, you're always welcome to ask questions in my Discord so we can help get you started on making assets, I was talking to Gray a bit, and I'm sure Gray told you about it, but it's not. Making assets is not super difficult. Making assets is super tedious. So be warned, you need to bring enough time for it, but else it's doable. And where do we have a flying rock? I do not see the flying rock. Oh, I do see. Why is this flying? Sir, this is not anywhere close to where it should be. Can you please let me touch it? Is a building? I think with these I know why, because Sarku changed some of the static ploppables, and we had some of them move their position. I guess very few of them, but this is one of them. So we'll put it back to where it actually belongs, and now we can also go ahead and delete this flying rock here. Because yes, preferably we don't want flying rocks. And with that, I do think we're ready. There is one very last thing, and I've seen, Elgendo, that I think Jay asked you in your Discord what your favorite mod is. And you did not say Dirty Road, so obviously your opinion is wrong and should be discarded. Because without question, Elgendo, the best mod you have ever made is Dirty Roads. The entirety of Los Vagos would not be possible without the dirty roads. Oh, well, I guess he's not here anymore. I will have to tell him the same in voice then, or you will have to make a clip so we can send it to Elgando later. Yeah, I feel a bit torn about that, Jamama, and I told Gray the same, and I think even told you the same. I don't advise just taking stuff from SketchUp and trying to get it into Blender and then proceeding from there. I don't think you will do yourself a favor. You will have to learn Blender anyways if you want to make proper models for this game. Just use it as an opportunity to learn and remodel those things in Blender. Yes, that is a bit tedious and maybe not the most interesting, but I guess it's a nice way for you to get a bit more settled in Blender. And yes, it is possible to take the SketchUp things and bring them into Blender. I don't think you will get the highest quality. And I think you do yourself a big favor for learning Blender anyways. Though yes, that does add quite a bit time to what you have to invest. Yep, see, it depends a bit. Learning Blender is not easy. It's fairly complicated, but at least for me, I've also like my entire Blender experience was having Blender in university like 15 years ago, and not Blender, it was Cinema 4D, but I had a 3D course in university because I studied graphic design. I never really liked 3D stuff back then, so I didn't really do much with it. And then I have not touched anything 3D in the last 15 years, beside making some very quick and easy just mesh models for some web development stuff. So I don't know. I think if you're good at learning new programs, and it's part of being a graphic designer, I have to learn new programs all the time, then you can learn Blender fairly quickly. Obviously, not to a super high level. Like I'm shit at Blender. Like I'm not any good at it, but I'm good enough to make simple models by now. In fact, I could show you guys if you're interested, but I would do that after the ad break. There is an ad break in 2.5 minutes, and I want to take a break and grab something to drink and take a piss real quick. But I could show you guys what I'm working on for future things. I don't have a scene for Blender though, so I would need to take a moment to set up a Blender scene really quick after coming back from the break. And then I could show it to you. But yeah, I've learned Blender in the last 2.5 weeks. And I can make fairly complex buildings by now. So if I can do it, most of you should be able to as well. I have 2 brain cells, so if you have 3, you should be good to go. Yeah, you should. The thing for me is I've used SketchUp in the past, and I used Cinema 4D in the past. And again, I don't think SketchUp is bad. I think SketchUp is a perfectly fine program for making quick and easy architectural renders or for making floor plans. 10 out of 10 program is perfect for that. It's just not an actual proper 3D program, right? For that, yeah, you should use Blender. Have an absolutely wonderful evening, Rizara. And again, gigantic thanks for your cactus statue. I will build more and cute cactus cool placements in our build in future. Maybe we'll tackle a second one today. But with a look, there is an ad break starting in 40 seconds. So I'm gonna try to find a police vehicle or a park ranger so I can send you guys on a nice road trip while I grab something to drink and go to the toilet in the ad break. And then I'll be with you cuties soon again. Come on, give me a police vehicle somewhere. Oh, this is a park ranger. Oh no, it even is a sheriff, even better. So quickly, the one thing we always want to do is put the simulation speed to half, else the road trips are a bit crazy. And with that, I hope you guys are gonna have an absolutely amazing road trip. I should be back with you shortly, like 2 to 5 minutes, something like that. So, Rezara, have an absolutely wonderful night, and everybody else, I'll be back in a little. So, see you guys soon. Bye bye. Hi cuties, I'm back. Let me catch up on chat real quick. Yeah, Gaga definitely is a Maya fan. I also want to clarify that when I say you should not use SketchUp, for example, but learn Blender. Blender just stands for any proper 3D software. You can use Maya, you can use Cinema 4D, anything really, whatever you deem the most appropriate for it. But SketchUp, for example, is just not a full-fledged 3D program, so it will not net you the power that you would actually like to give it. So that is what I mean, but I'm sure Jamamai said the same to Gray when I was talking to him. Cause you have so much experience with other programs, for you learning Blender slash Maya slash SketchUp will be different, but you will probably learn it a lot quicker than somebody without those prior experiences, right? So you should totally give it a go. And now we finished the 2 builds we've been working on. The question is what we dive in next to. This is a gigantic area that I always want to keep working on because I'm really interested in finishing this part of the city a bit more. And the other part where we really should keep working on is over here. So I would give you guys the choice. Whoever writes in chat first gets a decision. Do we work on commercial, a bit more urban, or do we keep being rural country bumpkins today? No. The Maya is also, hold on. Blender and 3JS or Cinema 4D are also not CAD software. They are also normal 3D programs. AutoCAD, yes, will be very different than Blender and Maya and Cinema 4D. 3DS, I don't know what that is. I've never worked with that, so I cannot comment. In general, I am very new to 3D stuff. Gaga actually works professionally with 3D stuff, so he's probably more qualified answering general 3D questions. I am probably more qualified by now to answer cities related editor 3D questions. But yeah, Gaga definitely is very well educated on 3D, a lot more than I am. And if nobody decides, I'm fine with that as well, then I'm gonna decide. And I actually feel more like being a rural bumpkin today. So unless somebody types, I want you to build commercial today, we will go back to the rural part of our city. Or we could also, but again, then I would need to set up a scene for it real quick. I could also show you guys what I've been working on in Blender. I don't want to Blender on stream yet, because I think I'm too bad and it makes more sense looking at people who are better at Blender than me. But I don't mind at all showing you guys the next few things that I'm trying to bring into the game. I mean, while Gaga is correct that Autodesk, for example, is going to be very different, I think you will still feel a lot more at home quickly. Like, yes, you will have to relearn quite a bit, but obviously you will have an easier access. And Jamama says, yes, show us. So I will put you guys in a position like this where you guys have to look at something cute. And I will set up a scene for Blender and open Blender real quick. Excuse me if we're gonna lag. My computer is not super powerful, so while I tab out, sometimes it gets a bit laggy. And I need a new scene. How do I do this the easiest? Damn it, don't you worry at all. There is many people who are very interested in everything you're asking, so you're probably doing other people a favor and should not say sorry at all. I'm just wondering how I do this best, because I want to keep all of the... Whoops, sorry, I did not mean to do that. I want to keep all of my other scene stuff and duplicate it. Okay. Sorry, I might need a moment for that. I am not very good at OBS, so bear with me. I'm working on getting this in for you. Window capture. I hope I manage this while on stream. If I mess up here, maybe I cannot show you guys, but I'm trying to. I think I've done it. I think I can show you guys. Can you see my Blender, guys? If so, let me know. I think you guys should be able to see my Blender now. Yes, you can. Okay, perfect. So this is the one thing I've been working on. This is just a prop for it. And none of this is textured, right? So all of this is just 3D, so it's gonna look fairly bare base yet. But this is a sign for the Pizza Hut, and then we have some small other, because I think more people should start adding props to the game as well. So not only do I want to make a Pizza Hut, but we also have some small stands for advertising, or for example, this looks very bare bone, but it will make more sense when it's textured. This is a drive-through speaker. And then the actual building, we're gonna work on a few more props still. This is the actual building. Ignore the missing windows, or in fact, we can turn the windows on real quick. So this looks a bit better, and I guess we should change to a material. This looks a bit better. Yes, this is the old school Pizza Hut we've been working on. My mom used to hate any kind of fast food. The one fast food I could bring my mom to is Pizza Hut in a long time ago. And this is the one nostalgia Pizza Hut I've been always thinking about. Obviously untextured yet. The reason why I'm very proud of this is that I'm gonna try to make a lot of this with upgrades. So the actual building we are gonna use. Oh wait, it's because the windows are here. We're gonna turn the windows off real quick. But the actual building is just meant to be this. Very simple, bare bone Pizza Hut. And then you will be able to kinda adjust it modular, because I want people to be able to change their building slightly. So one upgrade is gonna be this. And you can make it a lot fancier, give it a proper entrance and a nice looking lobby kind of thing for the start. And then another upgrade would be this very boring upgrade in the back, and has some kind of storage slash maintenance area. And then as a very last one, we have this one, which is by itself very little. This one will add quite a bit of props and change the way the lot works. This is supposed to be a drive-through. I am very well aware that Pizza Hut never actually had a drive-through in the US. I am European. For me, America is drive-through, fast food, and guns. So you guys cannot stop me. I will add a drive-through to every single fast food building I'll ever make for this game. Just because part of what we're doing is making a parody build of the US, and clearly to have a parody build, we also need to actually include good elements, and one of those is a drive-through. So this is the one thing I've been working on. And then I guess there is a second one that I can also show that I will revisit after I finish this one. I started that before and then kinda ignored it for a bit. It's this. Hold on, we don't want to be in the UVs, we want to actually be in the modeling. This is the second one I've been working on. It's chapel. Again, this is very much not finished yet, and I have to do all of the texturing, but yes, this is the second building we've been working on. And thanks for tuning in, Shane. Have an absolutely wonderful evening, and see you soon. Have a nice night. Bye-bye. But yes, so this is the other one, because I again like to build rural. I think we have only very big churches so far. I don't like the way the churches, or I should rephrase, I think the churches we have in this game by now from the people who made them, they're beautiful. They're absolutely amazing. I love many of those churches. They are too big for my build, so I will not be able to use most of them. So we are generally making fairly small and rural buildings. But yes, this is the two buildings I've been working on. I'm fairly slow. I have lots of things to learn myself still, so don't expect quick progress on them. They will not be in the game in a few days, but more in a few weeks, I guess. But I'm trying to, and it's very fun. And I personally don't texture in Blender. Sorry, I'm gonna change back to the game because that was already it with showing you guys. I don't texture in Blender. You can texture in Blender, and if you're good at Blender, then perfectly go ahead. I texture in Substance Painter. I think Substance Painter is a lot more powerful in texturing than Blender is, and it's also a lot easier in my opinion. So no, when I pretty much am at a step with both of those models. One of them I still have to UV unwrap, so I shouldn't say I'm at a step where I'm fine. But the Pizza Hut is fully UV unwrapped. I just gonna take the model and put it into Substance Painter and then model it or texture it there. You can use Blender. I think Blender is more intimidating to texture, especially when you're new to it. And I think there is quite a lot of things that you can literally not do in Blender that you can do in Substance. So I would recommend Substance, but yes, it's also absolutely doable in Blender. For example, Rezara, who made a cute cactus statue and was in chat earlier, he textures in Blender, so both totally viable. I again think you have a lot more possibilities in Substance than you have in Blender. If anybody's wondering why I moved that car up into the air so high, it's because we have decals here, so I cannot touch anything in the floor. So if I want to recolor it, I have to take it, move it up into the air, and then we can recolor it. It's a bit infuriating. It should be more straightforward than it is. But it is what it is, I guess. Right now, this is how it works and how it's done the easiest. So just explaining why I do that weirdness. These I want to see because I want this to be some kind of sand storage mainly because we have a very big quarry over here. This is our quarry. And we don't have proper storage for any of this sand. So not only do we need this proper big quarry, but we need a counterpart to it where we can actually drop those resources off, and it's supposed to be down here. So just like in our quarry, we will need quite a few of those, I don't even know how to call them, mining tractor trailer. That sounds not like the correct way to call them, but whatever. We will place a lot of those here because we need a way how to transport all of this. And in general, we will place a lot of trucks and industrial things up here. I wish that we had a prop of these with the shovel resin, because this is really nice. It's great to have this the way it is, but have a second version where the shovel is like risen up in the air to get a bit more variation and be able to use them in a different way than what we're doing right here would be very nice. But yeah, honestly, it's absolutely heartwarming to see, and I hope some of you are actually gonna follow up with it. How many people in this community would like to make assets for the game? Because really, making assets for CS2 is time consuming, so I don't think anybody is gonna shoot out as many assets as people did for CS1. So even more important that we are many people who like making assets, so we can all take our sweet time and still get a lot of nice assets. So I love how many people are interested in it and hope that we actually get quite a few new people to dive into it and actually get in. I think especially, and this is a bit of a preface, especially if you are working with the Adobe suite already, right? Like I work with Photoshop and Illustrator every day in my life pretty much for the last few years of my life. And Substance Painter also is an Adobe program, and it's basically Photoshop for texturing, if I might say so myself. So if you're familiar with Photoshop, learning Substance Painter will be very easy for you. Alone, that makes Substance Painter very attractive for people to learn, I think. And then, yes, that exactly what you were saying. Substance Painter also has a lot more possibilities, as in adding edgeware and dirt, and actually like keeping your textures really alive than you do with Blender. So I'm very much with you and think Substance is nicer to texture than Blender. Well, I mean, I love InDesign, and I've worked with InDesign a lot in my life as well. I have to admit, I am far by a daily InDesign user nowadays. So sadly not. And if you can texture a CS2 asset in InDesign, you would very much impress me, because that's what we just were talking about. So Please, Sunny, go ahead and make us a CS2 asset in InDesign. If you manage to do that, I will respect you for the rest of my life. Obviously, I already sometimes respect you, but only in a very few moments. Clearly, I'm being ironic. I love Sunny, and he's one of my city's role models. I think most of you guys know so don't take me too serious. I also wish we had a longer variation of those. I use this truck way too much because we're so many heavy industry in Los Vagos, so I cannot see this model anymore. But we don't have much alternative, so I guess as usually we will go ahead and place a lot of these around. And nice to see you, Sunny. Your computer is fully alive and you've been working. I hope I'm allowed to say this on stream. If not, scream right now. You're not screaming, so I think I can say it. Sunny's been telling me he's working on a commission. So I know just as much as you. I have no clue what it's about, who it's for, or anything. But it sounds like we will see something cool from Sunny sometime soon. Which I guess I've told you guys nothing, because when have we not seen something cool by Sunny every once in a while? I guess that goes without saying, even without knowing that he's working on something. Oh, in brackets S, so multiple right away. I see, I see. See, in any other context, I would say, what the heck is this? Why is there a tractor with a trailer like this in a professional business like this? But then we are in Los Vagos. Our entire city is just a bunch of rednecks. They would absolutely use tractors to transport stuff like this, so nobody can stop us. We are totally gonna use some of these tractors in this as well. Very curious. Very curious. Nearly done with it. And the Hexagon City I'm also a big fan of, so I guess a lot of nice stuff coming. The problem is, Jester, and I very much get it, like especially with Blender, for me that would be enough reason to not wanna do Maya or Cinema 4D, is that Blender is really good and it's free. But for texturing, there is a few alternatives to Substance Painter. There is not a real proper alternative to Substance Painter. Yes, there is some, and you can definitely do it outside, but I do think Substance Painter is better than any alternative you can get. But yes, there also is open source solutions similar to Substance Painter. I think Quivil is one of them. And then there is a second one, I cannot think of the name right now. Both of these seem to have made a lot of advancements and gotten a lot better than they used to be as well. So you should be perfectly fine. And even like I said, even if you just texture in Blender, that's also absolutely doable. I think it's quicker and easier and more powerful in Substance Painter, but no need to use it. Yes, indeed, you found your wife. I think I don't want to say anything wrong. Maybe just girlfriend, but I think wife. I mean, you probably could have just walked into the next room and also found her, but I guess like this you didn't have to move at least. So I get it. And just for future reference, because I don't say anything wrong and embarrass myself. You guys are married, aren't you? By now I already embarrassed myself, assuming either way, so now I can stick with asking questions and actually learn about it. Yes, Jamama has indeed been working very hard. I can confirm. She has not been typing in my chat in the last 2 hours and been saying I cannot listen and I'm only here lurking because I'm working hard on the side. It's true, and everybody in my chat will be able to confirm it as well. And clearly, neither us nor your wife would be lying to you. I cannot save you from your kid, but if you need another one, maybe you can adopt me and I can get a few more Christmas presents. And yes, I knew that you guys are having kids, and I knew that you guys are in a long-term stable relationship since many years, but that does not automatically mean people are married, so I wasn't certain on that part of it. And I think in this area, a lot of what we're doing here, because I want this to be very rural and not taken care of too well, a lot of what we're doing here is just going to be layering plans for. I always feel a bit awkward about it when I'm doing it, because it feels like this is not the most interesting gameplay loop. But then I guess if there's anything about this, and you're not lazy and you like to see how people who put a lot of effort in their vegetation do vegetation, this is the right place to get the feeling of that. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of me slowly moving around areas and clicking a lot and planting some dry, some less dry vegetation around a lot. I mean, especially if Dava is my sibling, then that sounds like an even more tempting deal. So I'm not sure if your plan was to trying to scare me away of wanting to get adopted, but if it was, then that very much backfired, Jamama. That just seems like a good selling point you just gave me there. Honestly, I'm so happy. I know this is like, I'm sure, because this is the very first ones, we will get a lot more high quality vegetation. But after using the same vegetation for the last year or 1.5, whenever since I started playing this game, it is so refreshing to have new stuff in this tab, to click some plants we've not planted a quadrillion times already. Dava is one of the single nicest people in this community, so yes, very much so. I think Dava also wanted to stream today. Before I started streaming, I just seen that he put an announcement out in his Discord saying that he had a flat tire. So I hope Dava got to stream today. But did not seem to have the best day, I guess, with a flat tire. Yeah, honestly, like I mean it, because I've been in the same position when I started with this. I think a lot of people are, and I don't want to step on anybody's feet. There is a lot of incredibly nice and helpful people in this community. There also is quite a few people that are actually a bit gatekeepy and are harsh when you get things wrong or something. I think there is a too big sentiment of being afraid of asking silly questions. I ask a lot of silly questions in my own Discord to people who know better than me. Never be afraid to ask. I think it's important that we try to get rid of the stigma that everything in cities is super complicated. I think we should be realistic and always tell people that it's tedious and they can't expect results quickly, but if you bring time and you bring motivation, it's totally doable. So yes, please feel free to ask many questions of any kind in regard to assets. Because again, there is a lot of other people who care to know, and if we can answer more of those things nicely and help each other, then we will get more nice assets to play with, which in the end is all that counts. And I think, Jamama, maybe you're also in a fairly similar position to me, because for me, the asset editor in cities is an actual blessing, because I would benefit career-wise and like professional work-wise of Blender, right? I never felt like diving into 3D, and I gave it a shot a few times in the past, but it is very difficult for me to learn something if I don't have something good where I can output it to. So any like project I want to make or any something that I actually want to get to life as in real life application, and you're not just following boring courses and not doing more than that. NCT's been a blessing because finally I can learn Blender and I have something where I can put those things that I learn out and I can use them and not just learn it for myself. And it's win-win because it's good for me career-wise, but then it's also very fun to do for cities, and both make it even more interesting for me to learn. And I could imagine that you're in a similar position in that regard. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I doubt, even as an architect, is not hurtful to know Blender. And guys, Tammy, I'm not wrong when saying vegetation is the single most important thing in cities. I know this has been slow and a lot of clicking over and over, but is this not the biggest little bit of difference we could have made in that time? Look at how beautiful they suddenly look, and look at how horrible and bland it looked prior to us going out and plopping down plants everywhere. I mean, honestly, I am very happy to help with those things. I do feel probably in that regard I have gotten a bit more of my family than I would like to, but my parents have both been teachers, and I guess I very much enjoy teaching things, and I very much enjoy our community helping each other out and learning together. So all of that makes me very happy if people ask questions and I can help, then you're doing me a favor as well, because I enjoy it. Like, I don't know, I enjoy helping people and teaching people. It's a bit difficult because then I have two brain cells, so I'm probably not the most fitted for trying to do so, but I can try at least. Yes, for me, Jamama, that helped me immensely. Again, I tried to learn Blender a few times in the past, and I never really gotten past just trying around fairly bare bones. And then I was like, okay, nice. Now what do I do with this? And now it's very easy. Now I can make cities assets, and that alone gives me a lot of motivation to actually keep learning and keep challenging myself. I would even like to be a teacher, to be honest. I I think if I would have not became graphic designer, I probably would have become a teacher. And even like this, if you come from a teacher's family, it's a bit like a curse. Like even like this, I might on accident become teacher later in my life. Who knows? Yeah, I agree, and I do think in general, and again, I don't mean this in any wrong ever way at all. This does not go for most people, and I hope nobody feels stepped on their foot. But I think in cities, the stigma of stuff being very difficult and everything being super hard has always been blown out of proportion a little. And I think in general, the community is sadly a bit more gatekeepy than I would like it to be. So I think it's important to also go out and actually fight against that, make us a bit more open. For me, it's a very simple thing. Like you guys know, I've done a lot of decals in the past, for example. I don't like making decals very much. So if I can teach something to some other person and they make decals in future and I don't have to anymore, that is a massive win for me. And same is with assets. I like making assets, especially now I learn Blender. When I feel less need to learn Blender, I think I'll also get lazier about making assets. So at that point, we need other people to take over. You better give me tips and tricks, Gaga. As if you have any choice. I cannot wait for this to look a bit more appropriate, because already now, this part here looks a quadrillion times better. Obviously, we want to do a lot more small level detailing eventually, but I think for now, the biggest part of what we have to do is do vegetation and like lay out the area a bit better and block off areas so we know better where to detail later on. Yeah, don't get me wrong, that's why I always keep repeating how tedious it is. Because I don't want anybody to have the impression, hey, I can learn Blender real quick and then in 2 weeks from now I can make cool assets. That's delusional, and if that's your plan, then that will not work out and you should stop already. If your plan is to bring some time and actually not be in a rush and learn things slowly and edge into them, then I think that's very achievable, and Cities is a great platform for that. But I think that really, like, the difference there is really crucial. I just don't like when people pretend like it's so difficult and undoable, and oh my god, you will never understand this, because that's quite simply not true. But yeah, you will have to bring quite a bit of time to learn it. I mean, there is a reason in general I've been struggling a bit with sickness and such as well, but outside of that, there's also a reason for me streaming fairly little lately, and it's that I've been busy learning Blender, so yes, it is quite a lot of time that goes into it. Gosh, how I love this grass, but gosh, how I wish we had a drier version of this. Like, just this exact same thing in a bit more beige, browny. 10 out of 10 for Los Vagos. Even this is a perfect fit, especially if we then mix it with the dry bushes. But just by itself, it's a bit too green for my liking. Holy, that freeze scared me, and we've not saved in over an hour or something. So since we don't have autoplay, okay, we last saved 2 hours ago. So good that that stutter happened, because it reminded me of saving. Because yeah, I don't want to plant all of these plants again. Um, I did not know you were gonna come pick me up, Gray. Now I know I'm gonna try to get ready so you guys can grab me. But more seriously, thanks for tuning in and have a nice evening and enjoy picking up the kiddos. Okay, I'm not gonna keep doing only vegetation, because I know this is probably not the most interesting. We're gonna keep doing the vegetation on this side, and then we're gonna dive over and detail a bit, and then keep detailing. Here, I noticed one thing that I didn't even realize before. We have to take this entire building and actually lower it to an appropriate level, because else all of those doors are flying midair. Yes, and I think the truth is also that goes with anything creative, in my opinion. I've always said it's about anything 2D as well, or programming, or anything like that. If somebody tells you, I've mastered Photoshop, or I've mastered Illustrator, or I've mastered Blender, these people are full of shit. You cannot master these programs. All of these programs are, in German, we would say a barrel without bottom. That probably does not work in English very well, but you can kind of learn them indefinitely, I would say, because there is always new areas and more you can dive into. But I think what also is very true in Blender is that there is many things in Blender you can learn that you don't have to learn depending on what you do, right? There is incredibly much to learn in Blender that is purely related to making a character, for example. I never want to make a character in Blender. I don't care about characters. So there is a lot of things that I can also ignore absolutely fine, right? Like I don't really need to learn geometry nodes. Sure, would that be helpful for me for a few things? Yes, but do I need to know those to make a proper building? Absolutely no. And I think that's always important to also acknowledge, because really there is a bit middle ground in those things. But yes, you can otherwise never finish learning Blender because there always is more to learn. See, this mod I'm very interested in. Can we find a door that fits here? Because this door looks so modern. I don't like it at all. It does not fit the vibes of what we're trying to do here in the slightest. But I don't think we have a proper door size for this otherwise. Can we find a door where it doesn't really matter if we just overlap it? Because I know all of these have fairly similar sizes. So I don't think any of these will fit fine. This is the simplest. This might not always load correctly. Wait, can we just lower the building slightly? Hold on. We're gonna go back and delete this. And we're gonna take the entire building, because I think we can without it hurting. Oh, never mind. All of this is connected. We cannot lower it then. I thought we could just lower it slightly, but that's not gonna happen. Welcome in! And I hope I don't butcher your name, but Gadbros, gladly tell me how bad I butchered your name, because I'm sure I have. And teach me how I can pronounce it to not annoy you in future. Okay, I'm glad. I'm always worried. I don't want to step on anybody's foot pronouncing their name in a horrible way. And since I am German and not English, sometimes it's not super straightforward for me. You know what? We can actually just put it like this, and that black thing on top, I don't mind so much. I don't think this looks wrong. I think it looks better than these modern doors we have in here. Originally, I thought we can just lower the building, but since everything is connected, we can't really. But yes, welcome in, and thanks for tuning in. I've been talking a shitload of Blender today, so maybe it's already getting boring for people, but I think you're one of those people who's also interested in it. One of the big recommendations I already given many times today, and I will keep repeating it, is gladly join my Discord and ask questions about it in there. There is a lot of other great asset creators in there, so not only will I be glad to help, but other people surely as well. And that way people can learn and see the answers and not have to ask the questions themselves all the time. Here, actually, we have a door, so I guess we should pass that up somehow. What we can do is try to edge on here and then bring it across the back here. Bring it through here. Probably nothing everybody's or anybody is ever gonna realize, but is a cute, nice little detail in the back here. Yes, again, you are one of many people. I think SketchUp is a lot easier and both also more used than Blender, especially in architectural background. So you're not the only one. Again, I will tell people how it is and would tell you as well that I don't think SketchUp is very well suited for making assets in cities, but it's gonna be very helpful for you. Like the experience you bring for it will definitely help you in Blender as well. And you're saying exactly the right thing, because yes, you should bring some time. It's not super difficult, but it takes a lot of time. So you have exactly the right approach to it. If you're saying, I will take a moment and not rush into it, that's perfect. Are all of you also cities players? I'm actually not sure with some of the new people. You, for example, Gad Bros. I know where you come from and where we've talked the first time, but I don't know if you're also a cities lover yourself, or if you're one of those people that just enjoys watching others. Because surprisingly, there is quite a lot of people in the city sphere who don't seem to actually play the game, but just like the community and like watching the content, which I very much get because that's how I started playing Cities. I never played Cities till like a year, 1.5 by now, I guess, ago. And I just like watching Cities content in YouTube. And eventually I was like, okay, that seems so fun. I need to try as well. Yeah, perfect then. I mean, I also very much am now, but not that long yet. I'm not one of those people who played CS1 for years. I played CS1 for 2 hours and did not like it and uninstalled. So I'm new with Cities 2, and even with Cities 2, I started playing a lot after the launch of the game. Which I guess, knowing how rocky the launch have been from many stories, probably did me a favor that I didn't play right away, but joined a bit delayed. Because I cannot judge, I didn't play at the start, but what people are saying about the first few months of Cities does not sound the greatest. Let's phrase it carefully like that. So you're a big city person. That sounds very confusing, but I hope you can follow. But I'm meaning you actually build proper big cities, right? Because I only build weird tiny towns and villages. So I'm not an actual Skylines player. I'm a cities player, but not a Skylines player. Mean I pretend to also have a skyline. We have this absolute disaster fest here. I don't ignore all of this. This is not detailed. This is nothing. It's just here to give the impression of a skyline in the background. This is our actual build, and I think the highest building we have is maybe 3 floors high. So saying we have a skyline is a bit complicated. I guess if you can call this a skyline, then we have a skyline, but we don't really have a skyline. I mean, yes, I guess a very low density skyline, but the only high houses we have is pretty much water towers. Everything else is like 3 levels max. I think 4 maybe. These should be our highest houses back here. So yeah, I guess 4 floors is the highest house we have. Maybe these are even taller, but these are even less floors. They have higher ceilings, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I was a bit shocked. I don't want to spoil. Gaga, don't guess because you actually know the answer. But we checked in the last stream how many people live in this area. And I myself would have expected more than what it is. It's it's not many people. Let's say that much. Because this number you see here is not representative. We have other people living in other places in the city. And I see there is an ad break in a few seconds. As always, I don't take enough breaks while streaming. So I'm gonna try to grab something to drink quick and run to the toilet. I will be back in 2 or 3 minutes, but I'm gonna send you guys on a short road trip while I take my break and the ad break is running, and then gladly I can show you a bit more of the city if you want to. But for now, enjoy your road trip, and I'll be back with you pretty soon. So bye bye, see you soon. Alright, I'm back. And I'm always a bit sad. I miss the road trips because I think it's one of the coolest way of looking at our city, and probably not a horrible way for you to get a good impression of the city for the first time. Get bros, because yeah, I can give you a little overview. Our entire city is this weird.
Yeah. Abdul? Yeah, get the rocks.
Well, yeah, I guess Jelly gave you the quick and true form of our city. Our entire city is pretty much just a lot of rocks. We also have some other small things like this. Sadly, our animals don't work right now. There used to be 2 chickens here. This used to be a cockfighting ring. Sadly, our chickens don't work currently, so I need to fix them. They look very scary and glitchy. So ignore this. But our build is one gigantic redneck paradise. We have, yeah, I mean, even if you wouldn't be legally blind, I guess you could not see those chickens, sadly. But welcome back, Jelly, and welcome in Computment. But yes, we have a lot of rednecky things like wrestling, and we have a lot of trailer park homes and very weird things. Like this, I don't know. It's been a long journey. We've been building this city for like a year or something. So our slow progress is very slow, but we're making very slow progress. And Jelly, what street is the one you wanna claim? Do you have an idea, or do you need somebody to mark it for me? I love that name. That's a great name. Do you have an idea of an area at least? Should it be more rural, more central, more industrial, more commercial? I need a rough idea. Central, okay. I'm gonna zoom in a bit more on the center, and you just tell me left or right or anywhere, and we're gonna zoom in closer so you can choose one. I think something boulevardy, this already is owned, but I don't think the main street here is owned. I would argue Kent Lane seems very boulevardy because it goes along my very small and little palace that honestly pathetically small. I have 5,000 inhabitants. Clearly, I deserve a bit of a bigger office than this, but I guess it's all we could afford. And how are you doing, Computement? Very nice to see you in here. Computement is one of my favorite builders in City. I don't think he's streaming or making YouTube himself, but he's one of the people who always makes me very happy when he posts screenshots of his build in my city, because they look absolutely beautiful. And it's one of the few people who actually builds European and pulls it off fairly well. I don't like most European cities in this game yet. I don't think we really have good enough assets for that. But Computment does manage to build really beautiful and pretty European cities. How do you feel about the released assets in the asset editor? Do you feel like anything helped you a lot for making European stuff? Because I would say even with the assets we're seeing on the editor, most of them are more American. I shouldn't say American. I get in trouble with my cute girlfriend. I should say from the US or Canada, I guess Northern America. Yes, Diorama now owns the main street in Los Vagos, I guess. It's very interesting because I think in many streamers the claim street gets redeemed quite often. In my stream, it barely ever gets redeemed. What gets redeemed a lot is taking over buildings and taking over districts and something like that, but then the streets are not that appreciated, which makes sense. I am not great at building streets, and they're all just dirt roads, so I guess not the proudest thing to be owned. Yeah, I was gonna say, because yes, the churches obviously are really big for Europe, because Europe is filled to the brim with churches, but in housing itself, I don't feel like there's been so much European focused yet. Which areas get an incredible amount of love actually seems to be Japan. Like, I'm very surprised how many amazing Japanese assets there are getting on the edit or on the PDX mods from the editor. Because really, it like Japanese assets been absolutely blessed so far. Not only because it's a lot of them, but the quality of the Japanese assets also generally been fairly high, at least. Yeah, Jamama, I'm not sure. Maybe you were lurking in that moment. Jelly bought you one of the fanciest, well, I'm not sure if fanciest, but pretty much the main street of Los Vagos. It goes right up here next to the gigantic palace complex and towards small little downtown area over here. So this cute street over here now is your street. So I think Jelly made a very solid choice for you, and I think not only did Jelly make a solid choice on the street itself, but also on the name of the street. Yeah, you're right. The Korean ones also are a lot. Though with the Korean ones, it feels like they are mainly carried by that one amazing streamer who makes amazing videos on YouTube and now also releases a lot of nice assets. But the majority of good Korean assets I've seen were his, I think. And I hope he actually is Korean. Maybe I'm being an ignorant bitch here as well, but I do think he is Korean. I mean, Jamama, I'm not sure if Jelly is the one giving the hack. I'm not sure that is something you should appreciate. In fact, you seems like the more appropriate reaction to Jelly giving you a hug. I said nothing. Obviously, Jelly, I knew you were here, and obviously, I meant for you to hear this. I said nothing. It was my brother who stole.
My God!
Who stole
Okay, it's
my
happening.
microphone.
Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Welcome in, Raiders. Thanks a lot for the raid. That's very nice of you. What have you, Cutie, been playing today? Also a city streamer or from a different space? And thanks a lot, appreciated for the raid. I'm pretty much exclusively playing Cities Skylines. So I would assume you probably also played Cities Skylines. Interesting. And how did you like Cities Skylines? World of Warships, I've heard a lot about in my life, but I don't think that's my kind of game. Ah, but actually, then you're playing longer than me. I am not new to cities, I shouldn't say that. But I'm new with Cities 2, and I started playing Cities 2 like a year, 1.5 years ago. So yeah, you're more experienced in this game than me then, for sure. Well, of course, I'm gonna make sure to follow you after this stream and try to check in there because if there is any game I like watching on Twitch, then City Skylines is the one. In fact, it's pretty much the only game I play and watch. I do watch other city streamers playing other games sometime, but then generally I complain in their chat that they're not playing cities. I think Jelly probably can relate to what I just said, because I generally complain to Jelly that she's not playing cities.
Get the rocks.
Oh god, did you shout out somebody wrong? I mean, see, one of the things you're gonna learn about my channel is not only is the streamer completely incompetent, but also all of the moderators on this channel are also fairly incompetent. So yeah, we're making a great collective together, and surely can be a great example for you on how not to be a streamer. I Jelly, remind me again of setting up the
I wish we
command
had
next
a
week, and
cactus.
I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to.
That's cute.
Okay, you did correct. Then I'm very happy.
Bye, have a great time.
Well, as always, Gaga, thanks for tuning in, and have an absolutely wonderful, nice evening. And if I may ask, because there is a right answer to this question and a wrong answer to this question. We Shark, are you a zoner or are you a plopper? Obviously, we will not shame you, no matter what answer you give. But if your answer is zoning, then we will totally shame you. If you're a zoner or a plopper, was my question. As in, if you would lay out your buildings with zoning, or if you use plop the globals and find it. I will assume that means you're probably a zoner. I guess, yes, Jelly is asking the right questions. Are you playing with mods or are you vanilla player? Because I guess if you are a vanilla player, that solved itself already. I mean, Jelly, I call myself an incompetent streamer all the time, so I'm not sure what kind of shade you're trying to throw at me, but I have never said anything different than that. Okay, that's very curious. Then you probably play a fairly different game than me, because I think I'm close to hitting 400 mods in this playset currently. So it might be 1 or 2 mods more than you that we're using over here. I can give you a quick tour of our city. Our city is a weird, rednecky diorama simulator. We built great stuff like this drive-in theater with nice stuff like this. Obviously, we have a nice choice of movie over there. And since we're like making fun of US Americans on this channel, I hope you don't take it personally or you aren't from the US. I mean no shade. But of course, since it's a US build, the one thing we definitely need is guns. So, well, okay, then I'm sure you make enough fun of your neighbors as well. So we we can safely proceed. Obviously, in the US, you would need a gun range. So we have a gun range here. And we have a lot of like rural farming areas. Over here, this is our very nice Brokeback Mountain range, because obviously everybody needs a little Brokeback Mountain in their life. Hold on, not there yet, but sooner or later we will have to build a military base, because I have a lot of horrible people in my city. In fact, there is a lot of people in my city that desperately need to be put in jail. We already started to lay out a big jail here eventually, so I can lock all of you horrible people up. But clearly, we also need an army to actually deal with a bit more uncomfortable people. Because while giving you a tour, I can show you why we have problem in this city. We have a lot of dangerous gangs in Los Vagos. For example, this gang here. I think it's fairly easy to tell that this is the Miata gang. They all drive Miatas. They have some sketchy kind of farming operation here in the backyard. Not entirely sure what they're farming. I don't know. They pay me a lot of money to not ask questions, so I'm not asking questions. It's slightly suspicious that this is hidden as well as it is, but we don't know. But yeah, this is the Miata gang, and it's a sketchy and dangerous gang that we might or might not have a little issue with. They do crazy things like taking over parking lots and then doing nonsense over there. And then we have two other gangs in our cities, or in our city. We have this biker gang over here, which obviously bikers are scary people. We even made nice decals. And cause bikers are so scary and dangerous, we gave them a very scary and dangerous name. Our city is called Los Vagos. So obviously the only fitting name for a biker game was Los Vagenos. Surely we're not trying to throw shade at bikers being laughable people, but maybe our graffiti can give a little idea about what we think. Because honestly, I think this is the only appropriate reason for being a biker. And I have to admit one thing. I'm very happy seeing what is going on right here, because the police in our city seems to be doing a great job. Honestly, SWAT right here taking over the biker area is perfect. Also, there is something here that shouldn't be here. So give me one moment. Oh, actually, we cannot delete this. That sucks. The business here changed and the new sign is wider. Prior, this was a perfect, fine Saul Goodman office. Like this, it messed up a little, but yes, this is the second gang, and I guess so. I should use right everywhere for that, to be honest. I'm a bit lazy to do that right now, but yeah, I should go back in here and put a right everywhere something above it. But again, I'm too lazy to do that right now. But yes, good idea. I will probably fix that off stream. And then as a last, and probably the most dangerous and lethal gang in our city, we have this gang here that has been kinda lucky to not been hit by this rock slide that deleted the half backyard of this poor family over here, I guess. But yes, this is our most dangerous gang, and it's a scooter gang. Because if there's anything that screams we're more dangerous than bikers, clearly it's driving scooters. I think the logo alone should tell you enough about how dangerous they are. These are the booty riders, okay? They are lethal and horrible. These are people you don't want to mess with. They do stuff like cage fighting in the background or in their backyard. Is a lot of stuff happening here. This is the owner of this scooter club. He was here just a few minutes ago. It's Gaga, and Gaga, as an owner of the scooter gang, might have had a little accident over here, which I'm not sure how appreciated this is by his members, but stuff happens, I guess. But yes, this is the three gangs we have in our city. So I do feel like we might need a bit of military in future to protect ourselves. But yes, basically this is our city. I think this is one of the areas that I'm the most proud of. This is our old and abandoned mine, which I guess it's fairly easy to tell that we like detailing on this channel, and I'm not really playing a simulation game, but a city painter. We build a lot of wonky, weird stuff like this. And I guess there is a very important building here as well, because we have the Ministry of Propaganda over here, which obviously is important. And we had a nice community member in who still watches me sometimes, but generally has a bit less time nowadays. He made some nice posters like these for us, which I can very much agree with that left one especially. So I'm not saying I am faultless, but if you guys ever think I've did something wrong, it's not my fault. It generally, if I do wrong, it's just a consequence of other people messing up, and then I had no choice. But I myself doing wrong, that's not really a thing that's happening. But yes, obviously we have some nice propaganda over here, and yes, in general, very, very detailed, rundown, weird way to play cities, I guess. I don't know. I don't think most people's coal mines look like this, but look slightly different in this game. And I don't know, all of this started in this area. This is where we laid the foundation, some very rednecky backyard, some permanent trailer homes. I don't know, just craziness. People in this city like word stuff. Yeah, I'm very much the opposite. Actually, I forgot about that because I asked a very interesting, or not very interesting, but I asked people to guess how high our population is. Because my total population, just so you have a fair guess, is this. But then we have other things back here. We have a nice airport and then a smaller city there. This is our actual city. So if you guys want, give me a guess of idea of what you think how many people live in this. We checked last stream and drawn a district over all of these so we can see the number. And if your biggest city has been over 1 million, I think you're gonna laugh a lot at this. Give me guesses of how many people would you expect to live in this? The answer is a lot lower than you would probably compute. You're pretty spot on. It's 5,000. I think 5,200 or something. So Nope, we're not even cracking 5 digits. We're a literal 4 digit. I'm not sure if we can call ourselves city, but I guess a village is more appropriate. I do think, after having perspective, that we have an entire gigantic army of 5,000 people in here. I think the size of my governing palace seems a lot more fitting, right? Because I think this is a bare minimum. You need to govern over 5,000 people. I would argue it's a bit small. There have been people in the past that said this seems like wasteful government spending, and maybe we should have asphalt roads instead of dirt roads. I don't know what happened. Let's say I have not heard anybody ask for asphalt roads in a while. I don't know. People in my city sometimes have accident, and I'm terribly sorry for them, and I have nothing to do with it. But lately, it led to less people criticizing my politics. Make of it what you want. But I guess I'm not really playing City Skylines. I'm playing Tropico, but I did not have enough money to buy Tropico, so I'm playing Tropico in City Skylines, I guess. But yeah, we're not really playing City Skylines. And with that, I think I gave a somewhat appropriate overview. This city is so detailed and so dense that it's really hard to give a proper full-fledged show of it, because you can stop in any corner and look at it for quite a long time. I'm trying to make a city that would be fun to play as a GTA map. So that is what we're trying to do, and that's why our progress is as slow as it is. Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, Jesters, and have an absolutely lovely night, and gladly tune in. And as I said, if you have questions about asset making, gladly join my Discord and ask away. No question too embarrassing, and loads of competent people in there being able to help and answer. All right, mate. Yeah, of course. Even by now, I'm sorry, I should have said that earlier. Obviously, after streaming, the first thing you need is to take care of yourself. So never feel sorry for raiding and running, but have a nice night and enjoy your after stream break. And big thanks for the raid again. I also like to, but then the honest truth is sometimes I stream a bit longer than I wanted to, and then I don't really have time to stay afterwards anymore. I would surely like to, so I agree with you, but sometimes I have to raid and run as well. So I get both sides. But yes, again, thanks for the raid and have a lovely evening, mate. I'm sure to follow you after this stream so I can see your city in future as well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a professional streamer. I basically just stream on accident, kinda, because my girlfriend told me if I play the game, I might as well stream. But I'm not too serious about any of this. But yes, thanks a lot and have a nice evening, mate. I think this was actually probably one of my most comprehensive city tours that I ever did. because I never know where to start, and mostly I get watched by people who watch me a lot, so they know most of my city anyways. But I think for once that city tour was at least not an absolute disaster. And why is this big ass rock right here?
If I have to listen to this bloody narrator say the same thing one more time, I'm just gonna quit and go play Cities.
I'm still, if anybody can find out who that is and where this is from, please tell me. I found that sound in some random sound library online and fell in love with it immediately, but I have no clue who that is, where that's from, what the context of any of it is. But I very much agree. If I'm working and people are really annoying, then yeah, I also want to do nothing but go and play cities. I love that sound, but wholeheartedly, I don't know who that is, where that's from. I literally just put cities, I believe, in some of those like sound libraries online, and that one showed up, and I loved it, so I downloaded it. But I always been wondering what the context behind any of that is. And I feel like maybe I'm just, but I feel like the voice is familiar. Like it feels like that is somebody who I heard before outside of that sound. Maybe I'm just imagining that to be the case, but I don't know. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, you should be able to tell who that voice is, but I don't know. I ain't given up on it. And Computement, how happy are you about these flowers? Because honestly, as somebody who plays cities a lot as well, like me, god damn are these amazing, aren't they? I really, every single time we get any new vegetation, I get so excited. Because, yes, Pedlemo, or however I pronounce his name correctly, is single-handedly hard carrying our community with his vegetation releases. Did you see the statue that Rezara made? Reza made a new statue pack for well, I can actually show you the statue. We made a great build for it today. We kinda have a cactus now. Yeah, look, I joined Rezara's cactus cult. We now have our own little meeting of the cactus cult behind this building. Clearly, they are up to sketchy stuff, so we don't want people to see them immediately. But yeah, back here is the horrible, horrible, crazy cactus people. Who another reason that we soon will need a jail and proper military. But I love it. It's the closest to a cactus we have gotten since we're building in Los Vagos, so I'm gonna treasure that thing. I hope maybe eventually we'll get an actual cactus, but till that happens, I guess we're just gonna have to pray and hope that that will happen eventually. But I do feel like, I've said this earlier already in my stream, I do feel like the speed in the editor has picked up a bit. It feels like there is quite a few new people entering onto PDX mods that just needed more time to learn about the asset editor. And I think now is a moment where a lot more people had enough time, and I think you can see it. It slowly starts picking up a bit more, not speed, but just more people who release. The releases are still fairly slow, but just it being more people releasing means more assets for us. Maybe that's also just my perception, and that's not true at all, but I hope it's true, because yes, please, more assets. Because I like that you say this, because I was wondering if that's just my perception, but no, it does feel like it also makes perfectly sense, because the editor and everything surrounding it are pretty complicated. So makes sense that everybody who's not had early access to it and made region packs in the past or content creator packs still needed to learn everything. So yeah, of course, couldn't get released super quick. I mean, I'm not sure I agree on that, because the amount of trash that still gets uploaded every day is pretty mind-boggling, but I guess you just have to ignore the low effort ported stuff. I also think it's a very bad timing to get into making decals, to be honest. As somebody who's made many decals in the past, I am not gonna make any decals till they rework the current import or somebody makes a script or a program to deal with it more appropriately. Yes, the current import they gave us works perfectly fine and you can use it, but it's so much more tedious than what we had in the past that it just seems like a waste of space or a waste of time. It's too much time investment for what it is. In the end, you're just putting a PNG into the game, right? And that used to be a lot more straightforward than it is now, and I'm not a fan of what they've been doing, so I'm just gonna wait and hope that they make it a bit less horrible in the future. I do think if I make assets or if I make decals right now, I would actually probably still do them with EIA, which I know people want you to get away from, and I personally want to get away from it in future as well. But they need to offer us a better solution than what they offered us right now. I'm not gonna make many decals if this is how we're making decals. And I know that I'm not the only person seeing it that way, because like I think pretty much every decal creator who made decals in the
I
past
wish
is
we
a
had a
bit
cactus.
annoyed at what's happening. Gray, I'm not sure how much you were lurking. Maybe you did not see him, but we have a cactus. Holy FPS. I just showed it to Computement. Can you let this count? We have a cactus cult here. People praying to the cactus statue. It's not the kind of cactus we were hoping for, but this is the first cactus we have. It is specifically made for me. Rezara made this. It has a very cute asset description, actually. So, yes, this has been made for Los Vagos. And did you pick up the kiddos? That didn't take as long as I was gonna imagine it would take. Yeah, who knows? Now we just have to hope that Pedlemo sees our prayers for the cactus and we get an actual full-fledged cactus. I would have imagined you would taking a lot longer than you did, to be fair. Yeah, okay. That's not too bad. Because even if you say it's a small town, I think for many things like these distances in the US are still bigger than in Europe. Because, yeah, here I would also say it's fairly quick for most people, at least living in a city. And I would say it's probably slower if you're in more rural context. It's starting to come together, but goddamn, this area is gonna take us a while. Because I do want to detail with people and everything as well. And before I forgot, I actually want to do something here. Because this building here has a very cute loading ramp, but because we're using a static ploppable, that loading ramp is not showing, but we should be able to use a clip surface here and line it up clearly or cleanly. And now, yes, we see the ramp. I love it. That's so cool. I always tend to forget about that clipping surface a bit because I don't use it super often. But it's a very powerful tool in this game that allows you to build things that otherwise you wouldn't be able to. I think the best usage of clipping surface we have in our build is either... I'm always so lost in where we built what. How do people who build a big city not always get lost in their cities? My cities has 5,000 people in them, and I get lost every single time I move around. If I would have an actual big city, I would completely lose it. I think this is a very cool way of using a clip surface. I've seen somebody else use, I think Suli maybe in the past, which honestly, great little detail. I spent way too long building this, so was it worth it? Absolutely not. Am I happy we did it? Absolutely. And I think the even better usage is up here in the mine, because we actually have this deep mine entrance here with some water down there. But I think this is really nice. And then the same goes for these. These all actually have depth and go into the mountain, which we're doing with a clipping surface. And I think it turned out really nice. Again, nobody will ever see this outside of us. Nobody will ever pay attention to the love we're investing to our build. But I don't know, I care about these things, even if nobody outside of us ever notices it. But yes, it's a really powerful tool in this game that people tend to forget about, but it allows you to remove stuff and build underground in areas where terraforming will not allow you to do so. And I think with a look on the clock, because it's getting close to 1 o'clock here already, I will try to detail this area a little more, but sooner than later we're gonna find somebody to raid out to. I hope that either Moose or Dava are still streaming. Or anybody else out of the lovely cities people we like. I hope is somebody nice online I can send you cuties over to. And I've usually I would ask Gray if he would plan on streaming, but I've given it up. Gray only always streams when I'm sleeping for hours already or having breakfast, unless he plays Baldur Gates with Jelly. And I want to play Baldur Gate myself, so I cannot watch those Baldur Gate streams. So I guess that's not a question worth asking. If I'm wrong, then load up your game and I'll rate you. I'm sure I'm correct. here in the back, I actually think we should try to add some passing. I don't think we can put super much passing because these decals will fight with it a little. But just a bit of passing goes a long way to make stuff feel a bit more alive. Yeah, I know, Gray. I'm painfully aware because I like your streams and I would like to watch them more often. I'm very painfully aware of you having a non-very EU-friendly streaming schedule, sadly. Which I think that inconvenience you're adding to my life, having an unfriendly EU schedule, clearly means you should immediately relocate your entire family towards Europe. So my and your schedule align a little better. I think that's a fairly reasonable ask from my side as well. It's the least I could expect, isn't it? If people say it's unreasonable, then obviously these people are wrong. And it's absolutely reasonable. Would you? It's very curious because I think that's a sentiment that is more common in the US population that's playing cities than in the majority of the population. There is quite a lot of US Americans who would like to move to Europe that I've ran into in the cities community already. Yeah, curious. I mean, I guess also does not get easier if you would have an entire family to move to a new place. If you're by yourself, that's a bit of an easier solution to take. I'm curious for both of you, both Gat as well as Gray. If you say Europe, obviously Europe is a big area. Which countries would you consider the most interesting for you to move towards? Norway, curious. Not the most popular guess. I think is a very popular and nice country, so I get it. But I think especially in the cities community, most people would say the Netherlands. We're gonna move to computement, I think. Maybe that's just my perception, but really it does feel like there is a lot of people in the cities community who consider moving to the Netherlands. I mean, or move to Moscow as well. But if computement already is saying is too cold for Norway, then I think Moscow winters are not gonna be any better than that. Yeah, of course. The reasoning on why that's happening, I absolutely see as well. Computement, I'm not surprised by it. I just think it's funny that actually is so popular in the city space, especially. I mean, if you wanna move to Switzerland, you know what the actual life hack for that is, and it's a very common one in Germany as well. Just move in Germany, close to the Swiss border, and then you have a German priced life, but Swiss salaries, and I'm sure that's a fairly appropriate way to live life. Because yeah, Germany is a lot cheaper than Switzerland, but Swiss salaries are a lot higher than German ones. So I guess getting the best of both worlds. Are you originally Russian as well, or did you move there to study? Do we actually want to pass through? I actually think, because this one is fairly slim, we're gonna just go past here, make this a bit wider, then line this up through here. Yes, you immediately seen it. The music indeed is not only Tropico 5, the playlist we're listening to today is a mix out of all Tropico soundtracks. So 5 and 4 and 3, and I think even some from. Is 6 the current one? I'm not sure. I've not played the current Tropico, so I think it's 6. I'm not entirely sure. But yes, we're basically playing Tropico in Cities Skylines. Like, all of this is a bit of a redneck dictator simulator, I guess. So I very much like tropical music, as well as I think it's very spot on for the theme of our city. So I like that playlist over here. But Friedrichshafen is not that far in the south. Now you confuse me. Because I live in the very north of Germany. I also think the south is more pretty than the north landscape-wise. I think the people are enough reason to prefer the north over the south, but then obviously that comes down to preferences. But yeah, that's not very much in the south. But I agree, southern Germany is beautiful. The problem is that Germany is a fairly slim and high country, and I live very much up in the north, so close to Denmark already. So I'm quicker in many other countries surrounding Germany than I am in southern Germany. Like I can go to the Netherlands or Poland or I don't know, many other countries quicker than I actually get to southern Germany. I would not generally say so in Germany. While I like the Norse more myself, I don't think that's accurate. I actually think if you look at purely financial power in Germany, Hamburg, where I am living, slightly doxing myself, but it's a 2 million people city, so good luck finding me. But Hamburg as an exception, because yes, Hamburg is very strong, has a very strong economy and like generally fairly many wealthy people. But outside of that, the majority of the north of Germany is definitely poorer and less developed than many areas in the south. I think the area where that is more appropriate, like what is less developed in Germany, still to this day, is Eastern Germany, because even though the wall and all of the history that came with it are a fair few years ago by now, that is something that still structurally is noticeable in Germany, right? Like Eastern Germany generally still has lower salaries and it's cheaper to live there and such. But one of the very richest and most like or strongest economic regions in Germany are Bavaria, which is pretty much as north as it could be. Yeah, Hamburg is, I don't know, like obviously always depends on your perspective. I absolutely love Hamburg and I think is the most livable city in the entirety of Germany. But I'm probably biased because I've grown up here and I'm a big fan of the city all of my life. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm not sure most people would agree. There is other, like Munich, for example, is also very beautiful, I think, but Munich is a lot less alive, is a lot more boring and dead. So if it's just about visuals, then surely Munich can rival Hamburg to some degree. But if it's about living there, then in my opinion, at least Hamburg is a no-brainer to prepare over Munich. Okay, that grunge already helped quite a lot. I have to admit that the blending on the roads, at least in some of these areas, is still fairly horrible. We will have to do some more appropriate detailing work as well, but I think for now I just wanna get the vibes a bit more in place. I'm gonna do some more appropriate blending on the roads. I hate if the overlap is so harsh between them. I mean, Munich in general is beautiful, and there is an ad break, so I'm not sure if anybody can hear me, but I'm sure at least some people have an ad blocker. So I'm just gonna keep going. But what Munich definitely has that Hamburg cannot offer you to the same regard is landscape, right? Like Hamburg, yes, has also pretty surroundings. Our nature is not bad, but we don't have the Alps in front of our door. So if it's purely about nature and pretty landscape, then Munich is definitely ahead of Hamburg. Ayo, welcome, Shocks. Nice to see you. How are you, cutie, doing today? Is it for you? It's already Saturday, right? I cannot wish you a nice Friday evening anymore. I think so, at least. So I learned from that you're a big fan of doing parkour stuff. Because I always found parkour really impressive, but goddamn, I'm afraid of he's. I would absolutely poop my own pants if I try to do parkour and probably end up hurting myself fairly badly because I'm a bit of a clumsy person. But to look at parkour, absolutely, I think it's very cool. Actually, very cool. I mean, probably is difficult to share anything without doxing yourself, but if you have a video and you somehow manage to not dox yourself with that, gladly share. And Shocks, I have to make you a compliment. I think you're one of the people who, one of the very few people who has a gigantic city, and your city is as gigantic as any city could be, but still details really interestingly. Like you have loads of like very detailed and cute corners in your city regardless. And I feel like especially with people who build cities in the size that you do, that's very rare. I feel like a lot of them are very much all in or nothing. They're like either zoning or detailing really hard, but little mix. And I think you're one of the few people who manages to pull off both together in a very nice way. So that with that comes that you're one of the few big city players I actually enjoy watching myself. Was that always your plan? To build up the city slowly and then dive in and get into the detailing? Because I think a lot of people who build big cities like you do, as soon as the city is done, they're kind of like, okay, I now won the game, so time to start a new city. I very much like your approach, but I don't think it's the standard approach for big cities. Yeah, actually, that's fair. Did you start playing Cities right when it came out? Like the second one, I mean, of course. Because, yeah, I guess I luckily skipped all of that very early, non-great time of Cities and came when, well, I mean, the game is still not amazing, but when it was in generally a lot better condition already than at the launch. Which I'm not sad that I missed that time that everybody always tells me was completely horrible in this game.
Place an electricity box.
Yes, please. I love it. Like I'm not sure if you were here earlier when you said that. This is one of my favorite redeems. I can only ever repeat this. I think the electricity box is one of the best assets in this game because it adds so much detail with just a very little effort placing them somewhere next to the road. I always forget about these, so I made that redeem so people can redeem it, and I actually get reminded of using the electricity boxes a bit more. Because even just placing those two there, how much more interesting did this entire corner just get? I love it. Thanks, you got. Very, very appreciated. We'll even put one here next to the main building. I guess makes sense. They have some proper electricity boxes here. And do we have some more here up on the street already? Yeah, we have one pair here. I guess we can put a second pair somewhere here up to this very big industrial building, because this surely is gonna need a lot of electricity too. But yes, 10 out of 10 redeem. I love this. Whenever anybody redeems this, I get very happy because I remember about what I want to do.
Bola time.
I mean, with this, welcome in, Picana. Nice to see you here, mate. This is a redeem that actually has not happened in a while, and I've been a bit short with, but I do think we have areas, so we need to switch where we are working a little. I do think we have quite a lot of areas here that we desperately need to bollard up. Yes, for example, this beautiful park here that is still in very early stages. We need to keep working on this side of the city as well. But here we totally need to bollard, so with that redeem, I'm gonna dive in. I'm also loving your Dutch build, Picana. I very much have to agree with Computement. Though I also miss Baihali, or however, I'm probably butchered the name of it, Baihai, your old island build. How do you feel, I'm curious, Picana, how do you feel about the asset variety for European builds by now? Do you feel like you can play cities to the same degree for a European build as for a North American build by now? I would love that if you revisit that in future. So yes, please, I'm a fan of that plan. Please do so. Because I can only judge from the outside. I've not built an American city or a European city, sorry, in this game yet. Whenever I think about maybe building one, I feel like there is not yet enough props to really pull it off. I think that is probably one of the few reasons that is fairly doable by now, but yeah, I agree. I don't think it's just about easier. I think I'd be more frustrated in a European build. Not because it's so much harder to do, but just because I have so much less choice. And I think choice really helps giving good ideas as well. And yeah, I don't think I feel like the game is ready to build a European city yet. For me personally, clearly there is geniuses like, why do I keep choosing the wrong one? This is the one I want. But there is geniuses like Picana and Computement who build a perfectly fine European city already. But I don't know, for me it's still not that tempting yet. Also, what an horrible Borla placement we did here. Are we quicker moving those correctly or replacing all of them? I guess we just move them quickly. Because yeah, this is horrible. Whatever I did there, not great work. But is it something you're actually considering diving back into? Because I thought you're actually having big problems with your save as well. Or was that not by Hal where you had an issue with the simulation so much at the end that you couldn't resolve anymore? Or did you resolve them but decided to move on anyways? I don't recall correctly anymore. I mean, I think Los Vagos is a great example for that. I assumed when the editor came out that Los Vagos is pretty much dead and I'm gonna abandon this build because I'm too lazy to fix everything. But flawless, like I had no problems with anything. Everything in Los Vagos worked after the editor perfectly fine. So I'd be fairly confident that that is the case for you as well. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm confusing your two series then. I just recall that one of them at the end, you had such weird issues with the simulation where you just could not get it to work the way it should anymore. And that also never resolved, right? Like that build is still abandoned just because of that. Because honestly, what a sad reason to enter a build. The distances here suck. I think the only good solution we have is deleting those two corner ones and then just drawing this, and then the distance should not matter as much anymore. Honestly, I think that is good enough for bowler time right now, because with a look at the clock, I will sadly have to stop streaming and find somebody for you cuties to raid out to. So appreciated for that bowler time redeem, because I actually really need to push myself to finish this area here. We've been working on this a lot and then kind of abandoned it. So thank you, Picana. But with that, I'm gonna put you guys in some nice camera perspective. Maybe here is not that nice of a camera perspective. We can do better than that. Maybe here. Oh, thanks a lot, Jamama. That's very cute of you. Very appreciated. All proceedings of the stream go into financing a new graphics card eventually. But thank you very kindly, and thanks you all of you for tuning in. I'm gonna have a look at Twitch real quick to see who is streaming. I hope there is somebody nice we can rate you guys over to. I know that Moose was streaming as well. So I hope we're on time to get that. Thanks a lot. That's very cute of you. And we actually reached our sub goal from that as well. So it's very holy. And another one, even more appreciated. Thanks a lot, all of you cuties. Wow, Moose and nobody is streaming Cities. What an absolute disaster. Who do I even send you cuties over to now? Huh. I think I'm gonna send you guys over to Kodiak, because Kodiak is the biggest city streamer who is streaming right now, and it's the closest game to cities. So Kodiak it is. I generally try to rate in category if anybody is playing cities that we follow. That's an easy one, but does not seem like that's possible today. So I hope all of you cuties are having a wonderful time over at Kodiak. And again, thanks all of you cuties for tuning in today, and thanks for the raid from a shark, and thank you to all of the cute subs at the end. I hope all of you cuties are having a nice evening and enjoy your time over at Kodiak. And with that, bye bye cuties, have a nice night. I need to learn to wait for the timer. I always click wait before the timer is done. Now again, have a nice night, cuties. Enjoy. Bye bye.